the story of the Lightweight Methods Conference. At the end of last millennium, the world of software development was facing its dark age. Software disasters were released. High-tech companies disappeared as a result of unforgettable mistakes. And customers were tormented by buggy programs and terrible user interfaces. The status of software development was depicted by the Standish Group on its Chaos Reports. In 1994, only as low as 16.2% of IT projects were successful. In 1996, the report confirmed that an average, 64% of features developed were rarely or never used. That's more than half of a project wasted. Few heroes were trying to bring light back to the fate of software. They were influential leaders advocating for better software development. They invented new methodologies, new patterns and new conventions to face the challenges of the time. But these heroes were fighting alone, sometimes competitors to each other. They were independent thinkers preaching different weapons for software design, architectures or methods. It was only in February 2001 that they joined their forces. 17 people met at a 2-day retreat in Snowbird Ski Resort in Utah to ski, relax, and find a common strategy to uncover better ways of developing software. This was the beginning of the Lightweight Methods Conference. However, the initial confidence was low. Many of the participants did not expect these organizational anarchists to find an agreement on anything substantive. Brian Merrick remembers the first day had quite a lot of alpha male behavior, and was pessimistic that much good would come out of the meeting. To seed the discussion, the participants all wrote down the issues that were most important to them on index cards. They then arranged the cards by topic and found that there were many recurring ideas. It was at this point that Ward Cunningham was inspired to write down 4 sentences that would have resolved the summit. 4 sentences describing pairs of values, with the concept that they weren't rejecting the ones on the right, but rather valuing the ones on the left more. This was the epiphany for the group. Robert Martin said, "That was startling, because we didn't agree on anything. We didn't vote, there was just a consensus. Once the 4 sentences were on the board, we all just looked at them and went, yay." These 4 sentences became a manifesto of the summit and its legacy. The most disagreement was over what to call it. After discussing a number of alternatives, they used a show of hands to adopt Jim Highsmith's suggestion of the name Agile. This was the only actual vote of the meeting. The only concern came from Martin Fowler, who is British, because of how most Americans pronounce the it as agile, instead of agile. The manifesto for Agile software development itself came into being in the first day of the meeting. On the second day, the group expanded the scope to include a set of 12 principles, which were negotiated by email afterwards, a process that apparently took several months. The manifesto was written in 2001. Who was its message addressed to?
You have a problem with authority, Mr. Anderson. You believe that you are special, that somehow the rules do not apply to you. Obviously, you are mistaken. This company is one of the top software companies in the world because every single employee understands that they are part of a whole. Thus, if an employee has a problem, the company has a problem. The time has come to make a choice, Mr. Anderson. Either you choose to be at your desk on time from this day forth, or you choose to find yourself another job. Do I make myself clear?
Yes, Mr. Reinhardt, perfectly clear.
At the end of the 90s, waterfall and scientific management were the predominant approaches used in software projects. The Agile Manifesto didn't rejected these approaches. It rather offered a choice for something more effective, when cost of change is low, and goals are only partially defined. The Agile Manifesto states that processes and tools are important, but individuals and interactions are important more. Comprehensive documentation is important, but working software is important more. Contract negotiation is important, but customer collaboration is important more. Following a plan is important, but responding to change is important more. After 20 years, some authors rant that the values of the manifesto have been lost. Dave Thomas thinks the word agile has been subverted to an arena for consultants and vendors to hawk services and products. None of these things were in the spirit of the manifesto they produced. Also, Uncle Bob feels frustrated. He says the message of Agile has become muddled over the years and there is a need to go back to basics. The motive behind the manifesto was to heal the divide between technology and the business. There's been a shift toward business, and away from technology, which was seen as critical at the 2001 meeting. Agile is about delivering good products to customers, by operating in an environment that does more than talk about people as our most important asset, but actually acts as if people were the most important, and lose the word asset. The authors of the manifesto were developers, and its message starts with, "We are uncovering better ways of developing software. By doing it, and helping others do it."